Hey team, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to go over disassembly and reassembly of a wet clutch system. The same kind of system that you're going to find in most ATVs and dirt bikes. These two video clips from disassembly and reassembly are from a video series where I rebuilt the engine in a 1987 TRX 250R. If you're interested in that particular series, check out the channel in the description. It has some more detailed videos all the way down to startup and break-in. This is gonna just be kind of a quick overview. I know even if you don't have this exact same machine, I've taken apart Banshees, Blasters, CRs, YZs. Most wet clutch systems are pretty similar, so it should give you at least a vague idea of what you're looking at when you're tearing it apart and putting it back together. And these are just short clips, guys. If you're interested in the full build, like I said, check out the description for the video below.
Just like I thought, we definitely got some oil left over in there. The bottom of the case is super hard to get everything out of, just out of a drain plug, especially while it's still in the machine. You can't really tip it up or tilt it. I will probably pull you guys off the stand and get in here a little bit closer so you can kind of see what I'm looking at in this clutch basket and what we should be looking for if there's any maintenance or parts replacement required. Okay, team, so here we're in a little bit closer. This is kind of what I'm looking at. So these are your steels and your frictions. So the ones you see sticking out are the friction plates. And when we pull this front cover off, you'll get a little bit better look at it. But the ones you see sticking out are your friction plates. They can start to chatter inside this hub. You see how all that kind of moves a little bit and build up some pretty severe ridges. This one isn't too bad, especially for the age of the bike and the way my wife is on the clutch. It's actually not all that bad. I've taken them apart before where the ridges are so deep that your frictions are actually getting stuck inside the ridges and it's preventing your clutch plates from moving back and forth and freeing up. Okay guys, next step, we're gonna work on getting this clutch basket off of there. My rod is kind of locked up, so it's gonna hold most of this in place. And they probably make a special tool for it. But if you don't have access to one, whenever you start pulling this stuff apart and it's not being held very well anymore, you can do like I did and raid your wife's wallet or your kid's piggy bank and grab a couple of pennies. They're pretty soft and you can stick them between the gears and between the teeth and they will bend or crush before you hurt the gears, and that will kind of help hold everything in place while you start breaking some of these loose. These are 10 mil and they are being held by a spring. I break them loose by hand first. I have had the studs on the center hub where these go into break off before and then the hub is ruined. So we'll break them loose by hand first. And you can run them all the way out by hand if you would like to. These ones actually aren't very tight at all. But it will throw the socket on impact and we'll get through it a little bit quicker. So, like I mentioned before, this is my wife's bike. I don't run all of the heavy duty springs in here. It is a Barnett clutch, but I think we ran 3 factory springs and 2 heavier Barnett springs and just staggered them so that the clutch pull on it would still be a little bit easier. Okay, once you have your springs out, you the pressure plate should come off. If it's a little bit sticky, sometimes the oil can be sticky. You can grab your clutch actuator over here and give it a pull. That's actually what works your clutch, and you will see the pressure plate come out. So we can get that off. Your pressure plate is like your steels. If you've been riding your clutch really hard, you will see bluing, like it's been overheated. I've never had that happen before, but I do know guys have sometimes scuffed them up, like with a light sandpaper, to try and get rid of some of those hot spots. I imagine it would probably work. It's probably like a flywheel on a car. Once you get your pressure plate off, you can start pulling your frictions in your steels. They go every other. So like these steels are dimpled. It's actually the steel, and it was still hooked to the friction. These steels are dimpled, and if you notice the teeth on the inside of the steel, they grab this inside hub. So when you lock them all together, the outer basket and the inside hub turn as one, and that's the point of the frictions in the steels. There's still quite a bit of fiber left on these, so we will probably put them back in. I don't see much point in replacing them. It wasn't slipping at the time. I will say, if you are going to put them back in, try and keep your stack in order. Friction steel, friction steels. That last one's going to be a little bit tricky to get out. Okay, once you get all your frictions, your steels, and your pressure plate out, some of these are retrofitted a little bit different, and there will be a flat bearing that sets on the inside of this and runs against your pressure plate hub. This one has not been retrofitted. So, still inside the case at the other end, there should be a small ball bearing that rides on the inside of this rod. That keeps this rod from spinning and fusing everything together. These are two separate parts, and when you get the retrofit kit, you will replace this. My bike has that in it. I don't know if it was a later model thing or if Honda just decided it would be better. Once you get that rod out, you can take your clutch actuator out. It's kind of hard to tell on camera. There is, see that little divot in it? So that's where the rod rides, and as you actuate it, it pushes it out towards the pressure plate and releases your clutch. I'm going to grab a couple more tools. We are going to need a lot bigger socket to get this center nut off, and I think that's our next step. I wanted to show you guys this little part. This is the center of the clutch basket hub. It's going to be really hard to see when I put the camera back up on the stand. So the way this works, you have a small washer behind your nut. It has two ears that go around that spline on the clutch basket. And then on the other side, actually down near the bottom, you can see it has a tab that's pushed up flat against the nut. This one is pretty beat up. I think somebody has been in this quite a few times and used a hammer and chisel on it and knocked the holy heck out of it. We will pull it off, see if we can straighten out those ears and clean it up. If not, guys, then I probably have one in a box somewhere. I have a couple extra motors that are just tore down for parts, so we can probably find something to make it work, or we'll try and clean this one up. I am going to throw you back up on the stand because it's going to be a two-handed job, but wanted to give you a little bit closer look.
Okay guys, that's pretty much it for disassembly. Here you just see me kind of going over removing the center nut from the clutch basket hub, and then I'll pull the center hub and the clutch basket off, but everything behind that's going to be a lot more model specific. Like I say, I'm working on a 250R here, so ATC 250Rs, TRX 250Rs, and I believe CR 250s are all going to be really pretty similar to this. But this next section we'll get into reassembly, so you guys can kind of take a look at that, from putting the basket on all the way to getting the frictions and the steels back in.
you will have a gear on the back of your clutch basket and your center clutch hub. I think it's probably easier to put these things together separately. So that back gear is going to line up with your kickstart gear. And then your clutch basket outer gear will line up with the crankshaft. This is splined, so we can put our inner hub on, and then your clutch pack, which we kept our clutch pack on the same order that it came out. If you are putting a new clutch pack in, which will be typically frictions and steels, I think they recommend that you soak it in a bag of oil or a container of oil for at least 24 hours prior to putting it in the machine. That allows these frictions to absorb oil. I think typically they say to put it in some kind of motor oil. I always just put it in case oil because that's the oil it's going to be living its life in anyways. Ours are still super oily. So we'll throw these back together. Okay. Next thing that we are going to do is secure the inner hub. That's this guy right here. So there is this little retainer ring. I don't know if you guys remember when we looked at it the first time during disassembly, it was pretty bent up. I did manage to get these top ears straightened back. With any kind of metal, the more you bend it, the more fatigue it has, the weaker it is. I think we'll be okay. I don't think it's going to cause us too much grief. But these two ears should fit around one of the raised portions of the inner hub, which keeps that from spinning. So the ears are going to point in towards your engine. And then we'll run. Sorry guys, this thing was dirty. So we're going to go washer, retainer, nut. And then see if we can figure out what size that is. Okay, then we need to find one of these ears that we can bend forward up against the flat edge of the nut to keep it from spinning. And I think it's going to be for us either this guy down here or this one up top. once we get it started bent forward, I'll just finish it off with a chisel and a hammer. Make sure it's snug against that nut. Yeah, we got a good tight fit there. Okay, now we can put, this is going to be the shaft that runs from our clutch side over to our clutch actuator. You'll see it has kind of a little clip on this end. That side is going to face out towards the clutch, whereas this side faces towards our clutch actuator. That little clip is what holds this into the end. Oh, I'm gonna have to get the flashlight out, guys. For some reason, we can't get past this ridge here, so give me just a second. Okay, guys, I think we might have just been catching the clip on the outer edge. Let's see if we can. Okay, we are in now. There's a small ball bearing because this is the older style, and the ball bearing is going to go inside of this cap, and then the cap should clip into this shaft. And if you hold a little bit of pressure against it and then run your actuator over here, I don't know if you guys can see it moving, but you will feel it move out actually quite a bit, probably a 1/4 inch or more as you move your actuator. That just means you have all the parts and pieces in the right place. So we'll put our outer plate on. I will grab the bolts for these. We'll get those started, and that'll finish up our clutch side. We should be able to put our clutch cover on after that.
Okay guys, thanks for watching. That's going to do it for this one. I hope it helps you out and gave you at least a little bit of input on disassembly and reassembly of a wet clutch system. If you're looking for some more detail or some more info on this specific model or similar models, then check out the link in the description for the build series on that 250R. I'm also starting another build on an ATC 250R that's pretty cool. You guys can check that out. But drop us a like, hit the notification bell if you're into it, subscribe to the channel. Thanks, guys.